Hello Greebos and welcome back to downloadable content. In today's video, I'm bringing you another mod showcase. I have about seven awesome mods that you need to download right away for the new U10 update. They're fun to use in dungeon mode, in the arena, but anyway, strap up, strap in, and let's dive in. First on today's list, it's kind of a complicated mod when you look at it. It's called Sectory by Sectix, or also known as IA. I'm going to show you how you can update and change the files yourself so you can make this to your liking. This one, you could chop enemy limbs off and they'll live. You could stab them and they bleed up. There's neck snap, there's leg breaking. There's a ton of things to choose from. You're going to have fun with this one. I strongly recommend it if you want to make your dungeon runs harder or if you want to add some realism to the game. Sit back, relax, and I'll show you how to change the files and then I'll show you how it works. The big thing with the Sectory mod, it lets you change a bunch of things. So as we go into the file, it's here where we double click and we're going to go to settings. Inside settings, there's a bunch of things you can change, but I'm really going to focus on a couple of things. First one is going to be the bleed settings. I'm going to leave the AI settings alone because I don't want to break anything. Bleed settings, normally you can change like, the overall health, but in bleed settings, these are a couple things you want to change. So you can reduce the bleed time. If you want them to stay alive for longer, let's say their bleed time is 4, bleed percentage, let's say, I don't know, let's give them 60 instead. Minimum, we'll leave that. The dismemberment, I think this was left as 10, but I set mine to 5. So once that's done, I'll exit out. I'll make sure it saves it. The next one is going to be the general settings. So double click on general settings, and here you can change their difficulty. You could change the creature add health. So I made these guys have 300 more health. I'm going to give them 400 more health. I'm not going to change anything else because I don't want to break things too much. So let's X that out and save. So that's how you manipulate the files so you can change Sectory in the way that you want. Now that we've taken care of the files, let's go ahead and spawn some people so I can show you what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at breaking their actual necks. If you hit them with nice blunt damage enough, you'll get a nice sound in there. You hear that sound? Oh, blood squirting everywhere. So I just go ahead and broke his neck real bad. I like doing this one because, the blunt in this game doesn't get enough love. And here's how you give it enough love. You crush their throats. And because this man has taken so much damage, his stamina is depleted, and that's why he moves super slow. I'm not in slow-mo, but he feels like he is because, well, he keeps getting these headshots. I like that I can also riposte and stab him. Well, he got hit a lot, so he doesn't count. Let's try it on him. Now I can riposte and stab, and they live. He's like, oh my God, I'm stabbed. And he'll start bleeding out, which is excellent. Yeah. You can also cut legs off and they'll live, and other appendages. Actually, he may have bled out. We'll use this guy as a volunteer. So him will cut the leg off and he's like, oh my God, I'm still alive. So you can leave people helpless and they're just sitting there, and then you could do what you need to. Mess around with the files all you want and see what really takes the cake here, because it's all about play styles. You may want them to die instantly when you hit them. You may want them to live if you lop an arm clean off. But it's up to you. So he's going to be like, oh my God, my arm. And because of the new surrender factor in this game, well, you can have yourself a good time. Don't move! Up next is a mod that actually goes hand in hand with Sectory, and that's called Non-Snapping Limbs by IfKenshiMods. Normally with mods like this, I would combine them, because they're like almost like one and the same, but the one works because of the other one. But I didn't want to confuse you, and I want to make sure that the author gets credit where credit is due. While using the Sectory mod, if you chop an arm off and they live, the arm kind of like snaps right back to them, and they can kind of use it, which is a little immersion breaking because I'm using Sectory for a reason. So non-snapping limbs, well, does what it's supposed to do. Let me show you. Non-snapping limbs is important, especially if you're mixing your mods with a mod like Sectory, because I don't want these guys to constantly move around after I've lopped an appendage off, There's no fun in that. Fall to the ground. So now that he's fallen to the ground, I don't want this arm on him anymore. Say goodbye to that arm. So now that he said goodbye to that arm, and he was right-handed, he's going to be like, oh no, I'm doomed. And he's going to walk around, and more importantly, this arm here is not going to be a problem. I could pick this, oh, he bled out. But Yeah, make sure you change everything else. But I like this one because it doesn't snap to them like how it used to from the old versions of Sectory because of this mod. So I feel like it's an extension of Sectory, but at the same time, it's a totally separate mod. So make sure you have this one. Otherwise, you know, you're not gonna feel as cool. Like, you want to be able to feel super cool, right? And this is how you feel super cool. Say goodbye to that leg. Still sticking with the Frankenstein's monster theme, we have a spell. And this spell is also brought to us by IfKenshiMods, and that's called the Spell of the Undying. And if you cast it on them, they won't die unless you do a special thing. So the Undying spell, you're supposed to be able to zap them like this. Zap! Get zapped. And I don't know why they freeze there. I'm pretty sure Sectory is kind of messing with something, but I cannot confirm that one. But I'm going to guess that it is, because they're dying when I stab them, and I'm pretty sure Sectory overrides some of that stuff, which can be a problem right now since they're dying. So no matter how many times I hit this guy, because of the spell of the Undying, he is, well, he's not going to die. So you think a drifter, how is that fun if they can't die? Well, random person, it is fun because there's still a way to kill them, but I will show you in a second. Basically, you take this rock and you throw it in their face. Just kidding, you don't do that. What you do is you imbue your weapon with the spell of the Undying. He just tried to attack me, and then with this installed, you just stab him. And this is how they become the actual dying. Pretty cool mod, just be careful if you're mixing it with Sectory. Moving right along, we have Pirate Stuff by VlodAk. It adds a saber, a boarding axe, a flint-like pistol, and more importantly, the musket. And I love myself the musket. Have a look. Found in your book, not this book, you'll have your Pirate Stuff section. And it has a couple of about five new weapons to choose from. And these ones are kind of some of my favorites. It's a nice flintlock pistol, and it has manual reloading. So you have to be like, and you can't just press the trigger again. No. You have to grab this piece here with your grip, and then press the trigger on your opposite hand to fire again. And your hand does this weird spin animation. I don't know if it does that with everyone, but it sure does that with mine. So just, keep that in mind. And then there's the musket. I love the musket because it's a rifle. I can do some nice long range rifle stuff. So this is fun to use, especially in the dungeon. I did a Pirate Themes dungeon run, which that'll come out pretty soon. But it's really fun because it's terrible but awesome at the exact same time. You also have a nice looking pirate saber that does damage. A Swiss saber if you want to, steal a European guy's thing. And then you also have this awesome boarding axe. Great for climbing and also even better for, taking down your foes. Ooh, this boarding axe really enables you to do some interesting stuff. And obviously you want to see me kill some people with this, so let's do that. Ugh. Hit him with the saber first. Ugh. So this is that European one. Looks pretty good. The blood that gets painted on it kind of looks like dirt, which is funny. Oh, sorry. Get boarding axed. Oh, I missed him because too short. Oh, yes. Boarding axe is fun. Boarding axe is devastating. I recommend using the boarding axe. And then we have our flintlock stuff. Boom! It can definitely get you into trouble. I recommend, not dual wielding, but having at least maybe an offhanded sword or something that you could use to back yourself up. Because if you miss with this one, well, you're going to have to pay your penance. And then there's the devastating musket. Good job, musket. Third one, bringing them down. I know you guys can see how much fun that you can have with this one, so I feel like I don't need to keep showcasing it, but I am also having fun, so we're going to have to drop this man before we move on. The next mod on today's list is the fully animated folding sword by Mido-min. This one is excellent. It does have requirements, so make sure you download those requirements, but it's the fully animated Dishonored sword. And if you're about to do a Dishonored run, you're going to need this Dishonored sword. You're going to have another new category when you install this stuff called Dishonored. And right now it gives you access to 3 different folding swords. And I'm going to leave it up to you to find out what these ones do because they have their own parameters. But let's start with the regular Assassin's Blade Spawn And look at this thing in all of its glory. Yes, you do need item activation and all that fun stuff, but check it out. When you press the spell use button, a nice blade comes out. And I could just do this all day, just turn on, turn off, turn on, turn off. So fun to use. So when you're in a dungeon, you can really just be like, yes, I am Corvo. Come here, friend. I want to show you that I'm Corvo. You're not Corvo. Corvo death. These are honestly one of my favorite blades to use, like, of all time and all the updates, because they're devastating, but, you know, they have their own animations. But can we turn the animation on as we're in close proximity? That is a great question. We'll find out on this guy. Stop. Can you stop wiggling? Oh, it does. Like, it finds its target and then bounces off. Turn it on in your face. Okay, now that he stopped wiggling, let's see if I can just turn it on. Oh, right through the eyeball, so you can do that. Super fun. And don't forget to bring a second one and have some dual bladed action. So you're gonna have some fun in your dungeons. You'll have fun in the arena. I strongly recommend these blades. You will not be disappointed. Our penultimate entry on today's list is Magic Shackles by LilHusky. I've showed this one before, and you can definitely do some weirdo stuff with it, so be careful when you're using this. But if you want to do a pacifist run in the dungeon, it sucks when they keep coming after you, and you have to like knock them out and break noses. This one, well, enables you to capture them, and you can do the Lord's work with this one, but don't go overboard. A lot of people think that Magic Shackles is a spell. It's not a spell, it's something that's always active. And it happens when you grab the NPC and then hold the spell use button. So this jerk, we're gonna go ahead and try and lift him in the air and dangle him so he drops that weapon. Drop the weapon. Now I have both arms, I'm gonna put them together, I'm gonna hold the spell use button together, and we're gonna Magic Shackle his arms. I punched him in the head. He's supposed to stand up. Maybe I shouldn't have punched him in the head. Sir, you're embarrassing us. I guess we're gonna need a new volunteer. Hi, volunteer. I'm gonna make sure to not hit this man in the head. Grab. All right, so I have an arm. We have two arms, and then we mush them together. So he's captured. Like, he's just straight up captured. He's like, oh no, I'm straight up captured. You can't do anything, right? So in your dungeons, if you're doing a nice pacifist run, here's how you do the pacifist run. You can capture them. You can grab them from any point also, and you can mush them up against things. So if you wanted to make like an effigy, I guess you could, but more importantly, if you wanted to, you know, put him against the wall and leave him there for his friends to be like, oh my God, they're gonna find me, you can do that. So if you wanted to do like your pseudo Batman run, this is how you capture villains. And then you could play medieval handball. Oof. Our final entry on today's list is a mod that, well, it's definitely quality of life, and I don't necessarily recommend using it with Sectory, even though I know they're both on the same list, because one can kind of impact the other, so be very careful. The mod is called Health Modifier by Neeshka, and it enables you to change your own health, but more importantly, the health of your enemies in the dungeon. So if you're finding yourself, well, too godly at the game because of all the mods you're installing, you're going to need this mod. Your health modifier can just be found in the menu book. So I'm on Oculus, and I'm seeing a lot of these ones. Your menu button now is the bottom left controller. It's like about right here. So I'm gonna press this button, boo, and that will open my book. You'll notice I have a new category. It's a little heart right there. So when I use the trigger to click on heart, whoa, I have player health, and I could go ahead and set that to 100. I could, I don't know, set that to not 100, but we could also bring the enemy health up or down. 10, enter. So now my health is 10. If I want enemy health, not to be on random, I could be this one, and I could say 1,000 health, 10 million health, enter. So now they have an error as their health. But you have full control over this one. So if you think you're too good, you probably are too good. So go ahead and install this one, and, you know, enemies have more health. Well, Greebos, that is it for today's mod showcase. I hope you had a ton of fun, and more importantly, I hope you download these mods because they are awesome. And hey, listen, if you're new to downloadable content, why not consider subscribing? Like, pff, it's free. All you have to do is click the button down below and join up, and I will greatly appreciate it. Once again, a special shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. And remember, join the Discord, hit up all the links in the description because we have a ton of fun there. Whew. Other than that, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm Rob from Downloadable Content, and I will see you, well, in the next video.